My daughter has been dead for 8 years. At least, that's what I believed until 3 weeks ago when I saw her face on Instagram. Not in a memory, not in an old photo someone had posted. She was alive, 14 years old, smiling at the camera with braces I never got her to get taken, standing in front of a school I'd never seen, using a name I didn't give her. And she had no idea who I was. Let me go back, because the day my life ended wasn't the day I thought my daughter died. It was the day before that, when I made the decision that gave my ex-husband the chance to take her. It was October 2015. Mia was 6 years old. My marriage to David had been over for 2 years, but the divorce was still dragging through the courts. Custody battles do that. Stretch time until you can't remember what your life was like before lawyers and depositions and court-ordered psychological evaluations. David was fighting for full custody. I was fighting for primary custody with his visitation rights. The mediator had suggested we try to work it out ourselves, maybe avoid the expense and trauma of a trial. So we agreed to meet. Just the two of us, no lawyers, talk like adults, try to remember we'd once loved each other enough to create a child together. We met at a Starbucks halfway between his apartment in Portland and my house in Beaverton. Neutral ground, public place, safe. David looked good, better than he had during our marriage. He'd lost weight, grown a beard, started dressing better. He worked in tech, software engineer at a startup that had just gotten Series A funding. He'd always been smart. That was never the problem. The problem was his temper, his jealousy, his need to control everything. But that day, he seemed different, calmer, more reasonable. "I've been thinking," he said after we got our coffees. "Maybe we're both being stubborn. Maybe there's a middle ground." "I'm listening." "What if we did 50-50, true shared custody, week on, week off, split holidays, no child support either way, just co-parent like adults?" I wanted that so badly, wanted to believe we could do it, wanted to stop spending money we didn't have on attorneys, wanted to stop putting Mia through the tension of our constant fighting. "What about the clause?" I asked. There was a clause David's lawyer had tried to add to every custody proposal. It stated that either parent could take Mia out of state for up to 2 weeks without notifying the other parent, for vacation flexibility, his lawyer had said. I'd refused every time. I didn't trust it, didn't trust him. "We can drop it," David said. "I get why it bothers you. We'll keep everything local, Oregon only unless we both agree in writing." I should have known it was too easy. We drafted an agreement right there at Starbucks, handwritten, both signed it, agreed to have our lawyers formalize it and submit it to the court. "Can I take her this weekend? I know it's technically your time, but I haven't seen her in 2 weeks and I miss her." It was true. His last scheduled visit had been canceled because he'd had to fly to San Francisco for a work emergency. "Sure," I said. "Friday after school through Sunday evening?" "Perfect." I picked Mia up from school on Friday. She was in first grade, small for her age, dark curls like David's, blue eyes like mine. She chattered the whole drive home about her day, her best friend Sophie, the class hamster, how they were learning about planets. "Daddy's picking you up tonight," I told her as we pulled into our driveway. "You'll be with him this weekend." Her face lit up. "Really? I get to stay at Daddy's house?" "Yep, so let's pack your bag." We packed together. Pajamas, clothes for 2 days, her favorite stuffed elephant, toothbrush, the special blanket she'd had since she was a baby. David arrived at 6. He seemed excited, energetic, hugged Mia and swung her around while she giggled. "Be good for Daddy," I told her, kissing her forehead. "I will, Mommy." "I love you to the moon and back." "And to the moon and back again," she finished. Our thing, what we always said. David strapped her into his car seat. I watched them drive away, went inside, made dinner for one, watched TV, went to bed. Normal Friday night. Saturday morning, I did errands, cleaned the house, caught up on work emails. Saturday evening, I texted David. "How's she doing? Having fun?" No response. Sunday morning, I texted again. "What time should I expect her home?" No response. Sunday afternoon, I called, straight to voicemail. By Sunday evening, I was worried. I drove to David's apartment. His car wasn't there. I knocked anyway. No answer. I called his mother. She hadn't heard from him. I called his brother. Same. Monday morning, he was supposed to drop Mia at school. He didn't show up. I called the police at 9 a.m. My ex-husband was supposed to return our daughter yesterday, and he's not answering his phone. The officer who took my report was sympathetic, but not particularly concerned. Does he have legal custody rights? Yes, we have joint custody. Then technically this isn't kidnapping, it's a custody violation. You'll need to go through family court. But he won't answer. He won't tell me where she is. I understand your concern, but our hands are tied unless there's evidence of immediate danger. File an emergency motion with the court. They can issue an order for her to return her. I filed the motion that afternoon. The hearing was scheduled for Friday, 5 days away. By Wednesday, I'd called every person who might know where David was. His friends, his coworkers, his gym. Nothing. His apartment manager said he'd given notice 2 weeks earlier. Moving out date, November 1st, 4 days from then. Why hadn't he mentioned he was moving? I called his work. They said he'd resigned, 2 weeks' notice. Last day was last Friday, the day he'd picked up Mia. My stomach dropped. Thursday morning, David's lawyer called me. I'm calling as a courtesy, she said. Her voice was professional, cold. I'm no longer representing David. He terminated our services. But before he did, I asked him to let you know that Mia is safe and well cared for. You don't need to worry. Where is she? I don't know.
You must know something. I don't. I'm sorry. I've said all I can. Friday, I went to the emergency custody hearing. David didn't show up. The judge issued an order for him to return Mia immediately. The order was meaningless. No one could find him to serve it. Saturday, I got an email from an address I didn't recognize. Sarah, Mia is safe. She's happy. She's with me. I'm sorry to do this, but I couldn't let you raise her anymore. You're not stable. You're not capable. She deserves better. I've hired a new attorney. He'll be in touch about modifying our custody arrangement. Don't try to find us. You won't. David. I forwarded it to my attorney, to the police, to the FBI. The FBI agent I spoke with was more helpful than the local police had been. He explained that parental abduction, even with custody rights, could be a federal crime under certain circumstances. International abduction, taking a child with intent to interfere with lawful custody. Has he left the country? The agent asked. I don't know. We'll look into it. In the meantime, keep documenting everything. 3 weeks later, David's mother called me. She was crying. Sarah, I'm so sorry. David called me. He told me Mia died. The world stopped. What? He said there was an accident, a car accident, that she died instantly, that he's making arrangements. No, that's not true. He's lying. He sent me a death certificate. My vision tunneled. That's impossible. That's fake. He took her. He kidnapped her. Sarah, I saw it. It's from the Department of Vital Statistics in British Columbia. She died in a car accident in Vancouver. British Columbia? Canada? He said he'd taken her on a trip, a father-daughter weekend. He said a drunk driver hit them, that he survived but she didn't. I was going to be sick. He's lying, I said. I'm calling the FBI. But the FBI found records, a death certificate filed in British Columbia for Mia Rosen, age 6, cause of death, blunt force trauma from motor vehicle accident. Date of death, November 3, 2015. There were cremation records, a ceremony at a funeral home in Vancouver. There was even a police report about the accident. It was all fake. It had to be fake. But it was all real enough to fool investigators. The FBI kept looking for months. They found evidence that David had entered Canada with Mia on November 1st, passport records, border crossing camera footage. They found the rental car he'd been driving. They found witnesses who'd seen the funeral. They even found the urn with ashes that had supposedly been Mia's remains. But they never found Mia's body, because there was no body. David had forged it all: the death certificate, the police report, the funeral records. He'd created an entire false paper trail, paid people to pose as witnesses, maybe even bribed officials. The FBI believed me. My attorney believed me. But without a body, without proof she was alive, there was nothing they could do. David disappeared completely, left no digital footprint, no credit card use, no phone records, no social media, nothing. And Mia, my 6-year-old daughter who I'd kissed goodbye on a Friday evening, was gone. The first year was the worst. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, lost my job because I couldn't function, lost the house because I couldn't pay the mortgage, moved in with my sister. I hired private investigators, 3 of them over 2 years. They found nothing. I spent every penny I had and then some, went into debt, sold everything valuable I owned. I drove to Vancouver 4 times, walked the streets looking for her face, showed her photo to everyone I passed. I created a Facebook page, a website, a tip line, offered a reward I didn't have. I called every school in the Pacific Northwest asking if a girl matching Mia's description had enrolled. Nothing. Years passed. Year 1, devastating. Year 2, desperate. Year 3, numb. Year 4, hollow. By year 5, people stopped asking, stopped mentioning her, moved on with their lives because what else could they do? My sister wanted me to have a funeral, a memorial service, something to give me closure. I refused because closure meant accepting she was dead, and I couldn't accept that. I'd lie awake at night doing math in my head. She'd be 7 now, 8 now, 9 now. What grade would she be in? What would she look like? Would she still love stuffed animals? Would she still remember me? The not knowing was worse than grief. Grief has stages, endpoints. This was just an open wound that never healed. I went to therapy. The therapist suggested I was experiencing ambiguous loss, grief without certainty. She said it was one of the hardest psychological experiences to process. She was right. I couldn't mourn because there was no death to mourn. I couldn't hope because there was no reason to hope. I just existed in this limbo, trapped in the moment I'd said goodbye. By year 8, I'd built a new life, out of necessity. I worked as a medical records clerk. Nothing glamorous, but it paid bills. I had a small apartment. I kept Mia's rooms set up in my sister's house exactly as it had been. Her toys, her books, her bed, just in case. I still checked my Facebook page daily for tips, still kept my phone volume on high at night in case someone called, still Googled David's name every week, even though it never turned up anything new. But I'd stopped actively searching. The private investigator money was gone. The reward fund was empty. I'd exhausted every lead, every resource, every possibility. She would be 14 now, in high school, looking nothing like the 6-year-old I remembered. Even if I saw her, would I recognize her? 3 weeks ago, I was scrolling Instagram on my lunch break, not looking for anything, just mindlessly browsing. A suggested post appeared: Phoenix Ridge Academy, fall sports photos. I almost scrolled past, but something made me click. It was a high school in Phoenix, Arizona. Photos from various sports teams: soccer, volleyball, basketball. I was halfway through the volleyball photos when I stopped breathing. A girl in the back row, 14 or 15, long dark curls pulled into a ponytail, blue eyes, that same slightly crooked smile. It was Mia. My hands started shaking so badly I dropped my phone. I picked it up, looked again. She was tagged Emma Richardson, freshman. Emma Richardson.
Not Mia Rosen. But it was her. I knew my daughter's face, the curve of her cheek, the way one eyebrow sat slightly higher than the other, the small birthmark on her left temple. It was her. I clicked on the profile, private, but the photo was visible. Same girl, different angles, with friends, in a school uniform, at a birthday party. Alive, safe, 14 years old, and going by a different name. I reported it to the police immediately, sent them screenshots. They contacted the FBI. The FBI contacted local authorities in Phoenix. It took 6 days to verify. 6 days where I didn't sleep, didn't eat, just waited. Then the FBI called. We've identified the girl in the photo as Mia Rosen. She's alive. We've located her at an address in Phoenix. I sobbed so hard I couldn't breathe. We're working with local authorities to execute a recovery. David Rosen is also at the address. He'll be taken into custody. Mia will be placed temporarily with Child Protective Services until we can arrange for her return to you. I want to see her. We understand. We'll arrange that as soon as possible. 4 days later, I flew to Phoenix. The FBI agents who met me at the airport were kind but cautious. Before you see her, one of them said, a woman named Agent Torres, we need to prepare you. Mia doesn't remember you. David has been telling her her mother, you, died when she was young. She's known him as her only parent her entire remembered life. She knows him as Daniel Richardson. She knows herself as Emma. She doesn't remember me at all? She was 6 when she was taken. Her memories from before that age are fragmented at best, and David has spent 8 years reinforcing a false narrative. Does she know who I am? That I'm coming? No, she doesn't know you're here. We thought it would be better to prepare you first. They took me to a child advocacy center, neutral ground, comfortable furniture, toys, books, trying to look unthreatening. Agent Torres explained what would happen. We'll bring Mia, Emma, in. We'll introduce you. We'll explain who you are. This will be shocking and confusing for her. She may not believe you. She may be angry. She may be scared. None of that is personal. She's processing an enormous trauma. I understand. But I didn't, really. 10 minutes later, a door opened and my daughter walked in. She was so tall, so grown up. She wore jeans and a Phoenix Suns t-shirt, braces on her teeth. Her hair was longer than I remembered. She moved differently, the confident walk of a teenager, not the skip of a 6-year-old. She saw me and stopped, looked confused. Agent Torres spoke gently. Emma, this is Sarah Rosen. We've explained that you were born as Mia Rosen. Sarah is your biological mother. Mia, Emma, stared at me. No recognition in her eyes, not even a flicker. I don't understand, she said. Her voice. I hadn't heard her voice in 8 years. It was different, older, but still hers. Hi, sweetheart, I said, and my voice broke on the word. She took a step back. Where's my dad? Your father is in custody, Agent Torres said. We're still sorting out the legal situation. What legal situation? What's happening? Nobody will tell me anything. She was scared, angry, lost. I wanted to hug her, wanted to hold her and never let go, but she looked at me like a stranger, because to her, I was. Emma, Agent Torres said, I know this is confusing. What we've discovered is that 8 years ago, your father took you without permission from your mother. He changed your name. He created false documents saying you died. He's been hiding with you ever since." "No, that's not true. My dad wouldn't do that." "We have evidence," Torres said gently. "DNA evidence, birth certificates, photos. You were born Mia Rosen in Portland, Oregon. Your mother has been searching for you for 8 years." Emma looked at me. "I don't know you." "I know. You were only 6. It's been a long time." "My mom died when I was little. That's what my dad told me." "He lied, sweetheart. I've been alive. I've been looking for you." She shook her head, started backing toward the door. "This is crazy. This is insane. I want my dad." "Your dad is facing serious criminal charges, parental abduction, forgery, identity fraud. He's not going to be able to care for you right now." "Then I'll stay with someone else. My aunt, my friend's family, anyone." She looked at me with something close to hostility. "Not her. I don't even know her." My heart shattered. Agent Torres suggested we end the session, give Emma time to process, try again tomorrow. I sat in my hotel room that night and cried until I had nothing left. I'd spent 8 years imagining our reunion. In my imagination, Mia ran to me, hugged me, cried with relief, said she'd missed me, she'd remembered me, she'd never stopped loving me. The reality was a teenage stranger who looked at me with fear and anger. The FBI psychologist met with me the next morning. "This is normal," she said. "Emma is experiencing a profound identity crisis. Everything she thought she knew about herself is being challenged. Her father, the one constant in her life, has been arrested. She's been told the last 8 years of her life are based on a lie. She's protecting herself by rejecting you. How long until she accepts it? There's no timeline. Some children in these situations come around in weeks. Others take years. Some never fully reconcile. I just got her back. I can't lose her again." "You won't lose her, but the relationship you had with 6-year-old Mia, that's gone. You'll have to build a new relationship with 14-year-old Emma, and it won't be easy." Over the next week, I met with Emma 4 more times. Each session was painful in different ways. She asked questions I couldn't fully answer. Why didn't you stop him from taking me? If you really loved me, why didn't you find me? How do I know you're not lying? I showed her photos, videos, her baby book, her kindergarten artwork I'd kept, the birthday cards I'd written every year even though I couldn't send them. She looked at all of it with detached curiosity, like she was viewing artifacts from someone else's life. In our 4th session, she said something that broke me. "I had a good life. My dad, Daniel, he took care of me. He was a good father. I was happy. And now you've ruined everything." She wasn't wrong. From her perspective, I had ruined everything. The custody hearing happened 2 weeks later. David, Daniel Richardson, as he'd been calling himself, appeared via video from jail. He looked older, grayer, smaller somehow. The judge read the charges: parental kidnapping, multiple counts of forgery, identity fraud, obstruction of justice. David's attorney tried to argue that David had genuinely believed he was acting in Mia's best interest, that he'd been afraid I was unfit, that he'd panicked and made bad decisions. My attorney presented the evidence: the forged death certificate, the fake funeral, the 8 years of hiding, the deliberate, calculated plan to make everyone believe Mia was dead. The judge wasn't sympathetic. "Mr. Rosen, you didn't just take your daughter. You faked her death. You traumatized everyone who loved her. You stole 8 years of her mother's life and 8 years of her own childhood. Whatever your justifications, your actions were unconscionable." David was denied bail. His trial date was set for 6 months out. As for custody of Mia, the judge was careful. "This is an extraordinary situation. Mia, Emma, has spent most of her remembered life with her father. Removing her abruptly and placing her with a mother she doesn't remember would be additionally traumatic. My stomach dropped. However, Mr. Rosen is incarcerated and facing significant prison time. Emma needs a stable home. My order is as follows. Emma will be placed temporarily with Child Protective Services in a therapeutic foster home. Sarah Rosen will have supervised visitation 3 times per week. Family therapy will be mandatory. We'll reconvene in 90 days to reassess. Not what I wanted, but better than nothing. The next 3 months were the hardest of my life. I moved to Phoenix, quit my job, found a small apartment, arranged my entire life around those 3 supervised visits per week. Emma came to the meetings reluctantly, sat as far from me as possible, answered questions in monosyllables. Our therapist, Dr. Williams, was patient but realistic. This is a marathon, not a sprint, she told me privately. Emma needs to grieve the life she thought she had before she can accept the truth. In our 6th session, I brought her old stuffed elephant, the one she packed that Friday. She looked at it. I remember that. My heart leaped. You do? I used to have it. Dad said I lost it when we moved. You didn't lose it. He left it in his car. The police found it when they were investigating. She touched it carefully. I called it Peanut. Yes, you did. You named him Peanut. For the first time, something softened in her face. I forgot I called him that. It was a crack in the wall. Tiny, but there. Over the following weeks, more memories surfaced. Small things. Our house in Beaverton, her friend Sophie, the way I used to make her favorite grilled cheese with the crusts cut off. I had dreams sometimes, she said in one session, about a house with a yellow door. I could never figure out where it was from. Our house had a yellow door, I said quietly. You picked the color. You said yellow was happy. She was quiet for a long time. I thought it was just my imagination. The 90-day review came. The judge reviewed the therapist's reports, Emma's progress, my stability. I'm prepared to place Emma in her mother's custody with continued family therapy and regular check-ins with Child Protective Services. Emma looked panicked. I don't want to. The judge was gentle but firm. Emma, I understand this is frightening, but Sarah is your legal mother. She's been searching for you for 8 years. She's stable, employed, and has done everything asked of her. You'll continue therapy, you'll have support, but it's time. The first night Emma stayed at my apartment, she locked herself in the guest room and didn't come out except to use the bathroom. I left food outside her door, knocked softly to tell her I was there if she needed anything. She didn't respond. The second night was the same. The third night, I heard her crying. I knocked gently. Emma, can I come in? No. I just want to help. You can't help. Nobody can help. Everything's ruined and it's your fault. I slid down against the door, sat on the floor outside her room. You're right. Everything is ruined. Your whole life got turned upside down. You lost your dad, your home, your friends, your school. And from your perspective, I'm the reason. So you're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to hate me. Silence. But I need you to know something. I never stopped looking for you. Not one single day. I know you don't remember me. I know I'm a stranger to you. But you're not a stranger to me. You're my daughter. You're the person I love most in this world, and I will spend the rest of my life proving that to you if you let me. More silence. Then, quietly, I don't know how to do this. Me neither, but we'll figure it out together. The door opened a crack. She looked at me with red, swollen eyes. I'm really angry at you. I know. And I'm angry at him. I'm angry at everyone. That's fair. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm not Emma, but I don't remember being Mia. So be both, or be someone new. You get to decide. She thought about that. Then she sat down on the floor on her side of the door. We sat like that for an hour, not talking, just existing in the same space. It was a start. 6 months later, Emma started calling me Sarah instead of you or her. Not Mom, I didn't push for that, but Sarah was better than nothing. She returned to school, a new school in Phoenix, made a few friends, joined the drama club. She video called her father once a week from the supervised visitation center. He was awaiting trial. She was angry at him, but also missed him. Dr. Williams said that was normal, healthy even. One night, 9 months after she'd moved in, she came into the living room where I was reading. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Do you really think about me every day, when I was gone?" "Every single day." "What did you think about?" "Everything. What you might look like, what grade you'd be in, whether you were happy, whether you remembered me, whether you were alive." She was quiet. Then, "I'm sorry." "You have nothing to be sorry for." "No, I do. I've been so mean to you, and you didn't deserve it. None of this was your fault." "Emma, I want to try calling you Mom if that's okay." I started crying. "That's more than okay. I'm not promising I'll remember or that it won't feel weird, but I want to try." That's all I could ever ask for. David's trial happened 10 months after Emma came home. He was convicted on all counts, sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. Emma didn't attend the trial. Dr. Williams didn't think it would be helpful, but she wrote him a letter. She showed it to me first. "Dad, I don't understand why you did what you did. I don't think I ever will. You were a good father in a lot of ways. You took care of me, you made me feel safe, but you lied to me about everything, about who I was, about where I came from, about my mom. I'm not Emma Richardson, I'm Mia Rosen, and I'm trying to figure out what that means. I'm angry at you, but I also love you. I hate that I love you, but I do. I don't know if I'll forgive you, maybe someday, maybe never, but I want you to know that I'm okay. Mom is taking care of me. I'm safe. I'm in therapy. I'm figuring it out. I hope prison gives you time to figure out why you thought this was okay, because I still don't understand. Mia." She mailed it, never got a response. It's been 2 years since I found her on Instagram. Mia is 16 now, a junior in high school. She wants to be a veterinarian. She has a boyfriend I pretend not to worry about. She fights with me about curfew and chores like a normal teenager. Most days are normal, good even, but some days she'll look at me with this expression I can't read, and I know she's wondering about the parallel life, the one where David never took her, the one where she grew up as Mia from the beginning. We don't talk about it much. Dr. Williams says that's okay. Some things don't need to be dissected. Last week was Mother's Day. Mia made me breakfast. Pancakes shaped like hearts, slightly burnt, but perfect. "Happy Mother's Day, Mom," she said, and it didn't sound forced anymore. "Thank you, sweetheart." I was thinking, do you want to go through old photos today, from when I was little? You do? Yeah, I want to try to remember, and even if I can't, I want to know what it was like, who I was. We spent the afternoon going through photo albums, me telling stories, her listening, sometimes laughing, sometimes quiet. There was one photo, her second birthday. She was covered in cake, grinning at the camera. "I wish I remembered this," she said. "Me too, but we're making new memories now. That counts for something." Yeah, it does. She leaned her head on my shoulder. something she'd started doing in the past few months. We sat like that for a while. Mom? Yeah? I'm glad you never stopped looking. I would have looked forever. I know. That's what makes it real. People ask sometimes if I've forgiven David. I haven't. I don't think I ever will. He didn't just take my daughter. He took 8 years I'll never get back. He took her entire childhood. He stole memories we should have made together. He traumatized her, not through abuse, but through lies, through creating an entire false identity she now has to untangle. She'll spend years in therapy processing this, years figuring out who she is, years dealing with trust issues and abandonment fears and identity confusion. That's not something I can forgive. But I can move forward because I have my daughter back. Not the 6-year-old I lost, but the 16-year-old who's here now. And maybe that has to be enough. Yesterday, Mia came home from school excited about something. There's this program, she said, for kids who've experienced trauma. They train therapy dogs and then donate them to other kids who need them. I want to apply. That sounds perfect for you. I was thinking, when I was gone, did you ever think about giving up? About stopping the search? I thought about it carefully. No, not really. There were moments where I didn't know how to keep going, but I never thought about stopping. Why? Because you were my daughter, and as long as there was even a tiny chance you were alive, I had to keep looking. What if you'd never found me? Then I would have spent my whole life looking. That's what love is. She nodded slowly. I think I'm starting to understand that. Understanding what? What it means that you're my mom, not just biologically, but like, really my mom. Yeah? Yeah, because my dad, David, he loved me in his own way, but he loved me like I was his possession, something he could control and hide and shape into what he wanted. But you love me like I'm my own person. Even when I hated you, even when I rejected you, you kept loving me anyway. I'll always love you anyway. I know. That's the difference. She hugged me, actually hugged me, not the stiff, obligatory hugs from the first year. A real hug. I love you too, Mom, even though it took me a while to figure that out. You took exactly the time you needed. That night, after she went to bed, I sat in the living room looking at her baby photos. 8 years. 8 years of believing she was dead. 8 years of grief and searching and hoping against hope. I can't get those years back. Neither can she. But we have now, and we have tomorrow, and every day after that. For 8 years, my daughter was dead. Now she's not. And that has to be enough, because it's everything.